Okay, this is the handout that you guys are supposed to be working on for today. Um, Hopefully you went through it before you actually take a look at this, see if you can do it on your own. Obviously, the willingness and ability of sellers to produce an offer to sell a good or service refers to the supply of something. Once again, we have this willingness and ability, and we're looking at all of the various possible prices and quantities, not just one. Number two, according to the law of supply, as the price of a good increases, the quantity of that supplied increase. So this goes on to number three and explains that direct relationship. They both go in the same direction, which is the opposite of demand. Remember, demand, price, and quantity went in opposite directions because as a consumer, you want things cheap. As a producer, as someone who is supplying, you are making this. Your goal is to make money. So you will make more available for sale if you can charge a higher price. And once again, explains why the curve slopes up and to the right. So all those are your fill-in-the-blank answers. Down here, basically all you're going to do is to answer these questions down here. So at 10 computers, you're going to put 500, 15 computers, 750, 20 computers, 1,000. And so here, once again, the prices are getting bigger, going up. So this would be your 500, this would be your 750, this would be your 1,000, and then you're going to come over and plot. At 500, you'll plot a point here. At 750, your quantity demanded is 15, and at 1,000, your quantity demanded is 20, and so your line should slope upward and to the right. Next page. All you're going to do is take your information here and plot your points, and again, we should have an upward sloping curve. If you go up to $20, you're going to go over to 5,000. That's where your point is going to be. If we go up to 25, our point is going to be at 10,000. If we go up to 30, it's going to be 15,000. So our curve should slope upward around this area. Down here, what two kinds of information are given on the supply schedule? We're looking at price here, and then we're looking at quantity supplied. How many sets of headphones per month does the company supply at a price of $20? Once again, $20. Our quantity demanded is 5,000. And if our price goes to $55 each, then the quantity we would be willing to supply is 40. Once again, if we're not changing anything else and all we are doing is changing the price, you will make more available for sale at a higher price than you will at a lower price because you are the producer. Please don't add in demand to this. We realize that consumers are not necessarily going to want to buy that many, but that's not what we're talking about here. We haven't put the two together yet. Number four, create a supply curve. We've already done that. Place a point on the graph for each number and then connect the dots. You've done that. Describe whether the curve moves up or down from left to right. And it moves up and to the right because of the law of supply. As price goes up, the quantity that we're willing to supply goes up. So as we go up, we move farther and farther away from zero. Why does the supply curve move in this direction? It's the law of supply. Easy enough. The determinants of supply on the next page, you should get these from your study guide. The price of inputs, that is the stuff that goes into making it. How much, if those prices change, not the price of the product. We're still not changing the price of what we're selling this for, but it's now costing us more or less to make it. Technology is B. C would be government tools. That's your taxes, regulations, subsidies. All that was explained in your notes. The number of suppliers. Obviously, if there are more suppliers, the supply is going to go out. If somebody goes out of business, supply is going to go down. And then future expectations. Obviously, if you are a supplier, if you expect to sell it for more in the future, your supply is going to go down. If you know price is going to go down, you're going to put it in the market today, and so supply is going to go up. So as we look at these, right here, I'm obviously you're going to have to use this from your handout. If there is a new trade law, in one portion of the law, quota is set on the number of CD players that's imported. Once again, we're going to underline what's going on here. We have a quota placed on the number of players being imported. We haven't changed the price. So you're asking yourself the very same question. Are we changing price? Are we changing something else? And I have said this for weeks now, so you should be getting this by now. If all we're doing is changing price, we're moving on the same curve. It's a change in quantity. But that's not what's going on here. We're not changing the price, so we're going to shift the curves either to the right. Once again, the numbers get bigger going to the right, so this is an increase in supply. This is a decrease in supply. So if there is a quota or a certain number that we are restricted to importing into the United States, we are going to decrease. We're going to shift back from D1 to D3. Next one, suppose many artists choose to release only CDs. What's going to happen to the supply of CD players? Well, if all you can do is play your music on a CD player, once again, have we changed the price of the player? No. Something else has changed. All we can do is use CDs, so the supply of CD players is going to go up. It's going to go from S1 to S2. If the cost of steel goes down, and this is something, an input that goes into CD players, have we changed the price of the CD player? No, we've changed an input, and now it's cheaper. So if you are a supplier of this and you can make it cheaper, are you going to make more or less available for sale? Well, your profits are going to go up, so you're going to make more available, S1 to S2. Electronics manufacturer develops a robot. Once again, this is technology. We can make it faster. We can make it cheaper. So we're going to increase the supply from S1 and shift it to the right to S2. And then minimum wage. Minimum wage is an input. This is where students get very confused. What happens to the supply of CD players? Did we change the price of the CD player? No. We changed how much we have to pay our employees. And so that's an input cost. Our profits are going down because we're not changing the price, so we have less incentive to produce. So we're going to go from S1 and shift back to the left to S3. These on this other page, we're going to either shift the whole entire curve because we're changing something else, or we're going to move on the same curve because of a change in price. So number 1 says the cost of manufacturing blue jeans decreased from 20 to 15. Once again, we did not change the price of the blue jean. What we did is now it's cheaper to make. So if we can still charge the same price and our costs go down, our profits are going to go up, so there is an incentive to increase. So we're going to move from S1 to S2. Here's the price of the blue jeans. All we're doing is saying at that price we are willing and able to make more available for sale because it's cheaper to make them and our profits are going to go up. So number 1, the answer is A. North-South Airlines files for bankruptcy. Once again, did we change the price of airline tickets? No. But if there are fewer airlines, then the supply of tickets at that price are going to go down because we just don't have as many airlines working. Once again, not changing the price. So S1 to S3. Number 3, as home computers become more prevalent, more people are using a computer program to pay their bills online than writing checks and mailing it. What's going to happen to postal workers? Did we change the price of anything? No. We're saying because of preferences, people aren't mailing. So if nobody's using mail anymore or very little, then we don't need as many postal workers. So without changing the price of anything, we're going to go from S1 back to S3. The government imposes a 25% tax on the purchase of gasoline. What will happen to the supply? Once again, if this is the price, and they cannot change the price, and they don't change the price, but the producers of gasoline now have to impose or have to pay a tax. It didn't say the price of gas went up. It said the producers have to pay a tax. So we're not changing the price, we're changing something else. It's making it more expensive. Our profits at that level or at that price go down. We have less incentive to produce as much. So we're going to go from S1 to S3. We did not change the price. And then the last one, or the next one, standards of receiving a nursing degree have gone from 2 years to 4 years. So now we didn't change the price of anything. All we said it's now more difficult to become a nursing teacher. There are more restrictions, regulations. And so we're going to see the supply of nurses go from S1 to S3. There's going to decrease because of regulations. Number 6, the U.S. allows an increase in shoes to be imported to the country. Once again, we didn't change the price of anything, so we're going to shift our curve from S1 to S2 because we're allowing more of them to be imported. A growth hormone used on cows, this would be technology, boosts milk production by 20%. Once again, we're not changing the price of anything. What we see here is S1 to S2 because we're making more because of new technology. A minimum wage bill is signed which increases the minimum wage to $5.75. This is an old handout. Obviously, our minimum wage is much higher. What will happen to the supply of fast food workers? This is different than the last one. In this one, this is not an input cost. It doesn't ask what happens to the supply of hamburgers at this fast food restaurant. It asks what happens to the number of workers. So this is a quantity demanded. This is a change in price. So if we are changing price, we are moving on, the same curve. And so if the price is going up, we're going to move on that curve from point A to point C. So our answer is D. And if you have any questions over the difference between changing wages as part of an input of a product or changing wages and how that affects the demand for workers, make sure you ask me in class.